So, a Supreme Court justice goes to Egypt to bash the Constitution. No, it's not the start of a bad joke. It's what Ruth Bader Ginsburg did on Egyptian TV, believe it or not. I'm Steve Green. This is Trifecta, and here to take a look at this curious case, Scott Ott and Bill Whittle. Gentlemen, Egyptian TV ran a 20-minute interview with Justice Ginsburg. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. And here's the part that has everybody talking. Watch.
You should certainly be aided by all the Constitution writing that has gone on since the end of World War II. I would not look to the U.S. Constitution if I were drafting a Constitution in the year 2012. I might look at the Constitution of South Africa.
Yeah, and it's got all that old-timey language in it. Scott, is the law really an ass, or is it the justice?
Well, I will respect the office of the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, but there is something very peculiar about one of these very limited group of people, these 9 people that we depend upon to be the arbiters and interpreters of our Constitution when it comes to law, comparing it to the Constitution. And she thinks, you know, if I were writing one today, I wouldn't look past 1942. In fact, I'd probably look to South Africa. She also mentions Canada and Europe as good sources of constitutional law. I have no idea why she's saying this, but it's deeply disturbing that she's saying it.
Oh, the Constitution, what, this old thing? All right, Bill, what say you? Why shouldn't the Egyptians look at nothing but post-World War II constitutions? There's an awful lot to choose from.
Man, where do you start with this? First of all,
yeah.
If you're a Chevy salesman and you don't believe in Chevys, maybe you should sell Hondas. I mean, this woman is the supposed defender of the Constitution. It's clear she doesn't hold it in very high regard. The second thing I'll say is, I want to know why these people can't say these things during their confirmation hearings. We get this all the time from liberals. You conservatives wrap yourselves in the flag and claim that you love the country, but we love it as much as you do. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. We believe in foundational principles that have been here for 250 years, and you think the whole thing is hooey and can't wait to change it. Just come out and say so.
This is why I picked this topic. All right, Scott, I have another clip, and I picked it out just for you. Watch.
We were just tremendously fortunate in the United States that the men who met in Philadelphia were very wise. Now, it's true that they were lacking one thing, and that is there were no women as part of the Constitutional Convention.
Now, Scott, you've put in some pretty serious research into the Constitutional Convention. How would women have made the Constitution better? Would the Connecticut Compromise have been even more compromiseier?
Well, you know, I can't help but thinking how they would have benefited by the presence of a wise Latina, like Justice Sotomayor as well. And, you know, how many other sorts of people would we have need to include in that room? Because, you know, foundational, fundamental principles related to natural rights and the nature of a free society and the dignity of free men can only be divined by particular gender groups or by particular ethnic groups. They're not timeless principles. They don't, you know, go beyond the boundaries of sex or race or anything like that. We have to have a woman in the room or else we'll never come up with that. This is an absurdity, and it's really scary, and I love Bill's idea. In fact, I want the next senator who asks the next question to a Supreme Court nominee, I want that question to be, tell me, what's your favorite constitution in all the world?
I'm going to forward that one to Mike Lee. You betcha he'll do that. All right, Bill, one last clip. This one's for you.
Let me say first that a Constitution, as important as it is, will mean nothing unless the people are yearning for liberty and freedom.
Now, Bill, doesn't the justice have an excellent point here? What's the use of a Constitution for people who don't care about liberty, and isn't there a broader point?
First of all, I'd just like to take Scotty's answer. If Justice Ginsburg had asked me, how would the Constitution have been different if women had been there? I would have said, well, the convention would have had better sandwiches. Yeah, I just thought I'd chuck that out there. Okay, so let's move on. The fundamental point here is this. Here's a woman speaking to Egyptian television about our country. She's not just a representative of the United States. Everybody thinks that we have 535 representatives determining our lives. It's not true. We have an unelected oligarchy of 9 people that overrule the will of the people if it's their whim to do it. The Supreme Court was never, ever intended to be a co-equal branch with the legislature or the executive. If you look at the Constitution doesn't say how many justices, and it doesn't say anything about serving for life. All of these things were added later. This entire idea is absurd. Let me just wrap this one thing. Here's a woman on Egyptian television. The Egyptian people, by and large, despise her because she's American, but they especially despise her because she's an American woman, but they especially despise her because she's an American woman Jew. And these people are looking at her like she's some kind of freak. I don't understand why she was there, and I certainly don't understand why she had to take that opportunity to trash our Constitution in the face of people that don't much care for it anyway.
You know what, folks? Getting Bill Whittle wound up like that is one of the most fun things you can do and still actually put on television. And you know what? I doubt that going overseas to belittle the Constitution is actually an impeachable offense, not even for a Supreme Court justice. But you know what? Ruth Bader Ginsburg has made it perfectly clear that she doesn't think the Constitution is very well suited for the modern age. So I propose a simple solution. Judge Ginsburg needs to recuse herself from any cases involving the Constitution. Case closed. For Bill Whittle, Scott Ott, and everyone here at PJTV, I'm Steve Green.